everyone, and welcome back to Quest Me, the Star Wars podcast that takes you on a quest through legends and new canon, brought to you by Twist My Arm Podcast. I am Josh, of course, your forever host and friend, and I am excited to get into episode 3 of The Acolyte. But before we do that, of course, I can't go any farther without introducing the other people that are in this show. One of them being Justin. How are you this week?
I'm well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
Very good to hear.
Anything crazy happen over the week for you, or just same old?
I went to Unicorn Festival over the weekend. Everything was glitter and rainbows and unicorns and mermaids.
Was that like
Yeah,
a
it
free
was fun
thing?
actually. No, yeah, it was like $25. It was practically free. She got free
No,
face paints, got to go down like big balloon slides, all that kind of stuff.
nice. Sounds like a
Yeah,
good time.
it was. It was.
All right, excellent. Well, I also have to bring in the other part of this show. He's not necessarily in the stage yet or in the show yet, but he is here. His name is Phil. Is his mic unmuted? Is Phil there? Hello?
I am, in fact, unmuted.
Yeah. How are you doing, Phil?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Great. Doing great. I know you're a little
Awesome.
busy over there, so I'll try not to keep you talking too incredibly much. So we'll move on.
That's all good. I'm just getting ready for our post guest introduction bit.
Yeah, of course. Speaking of that, we always have a guest on these shows, and this week is frequent quester. He's from the Scariff Scuttlebutt podcast, and his name is Ro. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to our discussion.
Of course.
Hey, what's up, Ro?
What's happening?
High five.
High five.
So before we go too much farther, like you are another person that I would consider a big Star Wars fan, and I haven't really been on the Twitters lately, so I haven't really seen a lot of stuff from you. But what have been your initial impressions of the Acolyte?
So Brad and I, we've been doing our review shows on Saturday nights as usual, Scariff Live, YouTube at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And we did one last week. We're going to do one again. We're going to be talking about episode 3 this week. Before the first 2 episodes dropped, I was very excited. Again, always excited about new Star Wars just to see what it's all about. Watched the first 2 episodes. They didn't really blow me away. Our reviews are out there in the audio and the YouTubes, but this third episode, I kind of feel like I like it better than the first 2. We'll talk about it as we go through the evening, but I'm always curious to see where the story goes, and I actually like when they play around with Force lore and politics in Star Wars, the Senate and Palpatine's, little backroom dealings, all that stuff. I really kind of enjoy, and I think this one definitely had some of my likes right up there. The Force lore manipulation and I don't know. I'm intrigued as to find out what's going on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. It's just such a different show, I've had a lot of fun with it so far, though, so I'm glad that you are also enjoying it. It seems to be a lot of people out there that are not enjoying it as much,
Haters.
which is fine. But I just, I get a little tired of the just constant bashing, and it's not even like legitimate bashing.
And here's the thing. You said it. It's not legitimate bashing. I mean, it's a lot of times, these certain accounts, we won't name them, but you know them, and they seem just to have like this little agenda to generate hate, because that's how they make their living. I'd rather talk to people that are just fans of movies and films and stories, just to see how they perceive it. They don't have to be, super hardcore Star Wars fans, but give it a chance. Let's talk about it, and that's what we're here for. I really don't pay attention to the hate clickers and the career YouTubers that are constantly, a one-trick pony, because they have absolutely no street cred, in my perspective, because we know they live on that. So, go do your thing somewhere else. I'm going to talk to fans and folks that enjoy stuff or not enjoy. I mean, tell me why you don't enjoy it. I'm here to have a civil
Don't just
discussion
bash
with
it to bash it. That's
Right.
where I'm at. Like, just don't
Yeah.
don't be just doing it because it's the cool thing to do. Because like, I get
It's
it.
not
Star
even the
Wars
cool
is
thing to
different
do.
now,
It's not even the
but,
cool
like,
thing to
yeah.
do. It's
So are you
It's just
saying
being
these?
a dick.
So are you saying these Facebook groups out there, go unnamed now, are just trolling to troll?
yeah.
Some of them, absolutely. Yeah, sure. It's
Especially when you,
really grinds my gears.
Well,
it's
not that
especially
far.
when you see especially when you see reviews to a show that hasn't come out yet, and it's like in the teens and 12s, and it's like, what? Come on.
yeah. It's just
And then
older
these
stuff.
are accounts that were created just for for review bashing. You can tell the creation dates are within the last 7 days, and it's like, come on, people.
Right.
Is it AI driven?
Anyway, I get tired of the whole shtick, and it's been long enough. Like, just stop watching it. Stop watching it.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously, you're just gonna watch it to hate it, so just stop. We, on the other hand, I feel like we enjoy it for the most part, and I'm excited to talk about it. I'm also really excited that we are actually streaming on TikTok for the first time tonight.
Oh,
Yay!
I don't
the
know
TikTok.
how long that's gonna last or whatever, but it's going okay so far. So
Very
hello
nice.
out there in the TikTok world. I got the chat up here, so if you guys wanna hang out, let me know. And hello
Ready
to
to move
Jesse
on?
over there in the YouTube chat. We are live on
Woohoo.
YouTube, Facebook, and now TikTok this week. So
Very nice. Very nice.
yeah, let's move on to our first. It's always our first segment, but now that Phil's here, we're gonna do it. Maybe.
Good
It
evening.
is a bar far away. Phil, tell us, what are we drinking tonight?
So tonight I try something tiki inspired. I decided to come up with something kind of inspired by the Ascension ceremony in episode 3. And so this is the Ascension. It's in a skull because skull
I love
glasses
it.
are
You're a pirate, let's be honest.
guilty. It is 1.5 ounces of black magic rum, 1 ounce of Monte Alban mezcal, 1 ounce of lime juice, 1 ounce of agave syrup, and 1/2 ounce of orgeat almond syrup. It is shaken and served over crushed ice. And then I took a little sugar cube, soaked it in 151, so like any overproof rum, but soaked it in 151, lit it on fire, and sprinkled some cinnamon over the top of it.
Was the fire
So-
for the episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That makes
I
sense.
had to, after this episode, I had to light something on fire. Better that it's a cocktail than someo's house.
You just gotta do it like Beavis.
For legal reasons, this is a joke. But yeah, no, so
And of
if
course,
you,
as always, please drink responsibly.
yes, and if you feel like playing along, we will have that recipe in the show notes.
Yep, absolutely.
Including the
I'm a
that
big
show,
Josh type it.
and you can listen to those shows anywhere you listen to podcasts. Excellent. I am just drinking a weird little thing. I don't know. It's just something I found in my fridge. So, let's move on. We're gonna get into this latest episode, episode 3. It's called Destiny. I did not write my own synopsis last week, but this week I did. So let's do this. On this week's episode, we go back to the past for what seems like a new norm for Star Wars. We're taken to a land full of witches and monks and beautiful butterflies. We learn more about who the Jedi are in this time period, and we take the Ascension into a whole new universe of Star Wars lore. It was a very interesting episode. I think all around it was different. It really broke away from the norm. We got some new kind of Star Wars lore mixed in with some of the old Star Wars lore. But the first thing I really want to talk about is going back to the past. It seems like every Star Wars show in however long now has some sort of flashback. Is that just to be expected now in Star Wars? Ro?
Yeah, from the Book of Boba Fett, we had the flashback scenes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the whole linear storytelling is going the way of the dodo, but I wish they can kind of. I don't know. They're using it. I feel they're using it kind of as a hook. Like, okay, we're going to show you this, but hey, check this out, because this will make that make sense. But here, I don't know if they're training us, because I had a conversation with a buddy of mine.
Training.
Yeah, they're training us to be able to accept the sequel trilogy a little better, because now we're getting the flashback part of like stories that would connect everything to the sequels.
I am too old to begin the training.
Yes. Yes.
Are you
But,
saying mind tricking us?
They are Jedi mind tricking us. And, I don't know. I say this in jest, obviously, but I don't mind, I don't mind the flashbacks. I think everybody is saying that we're going to get some more flashbacks regarding another point of view of the story that we just happened here. So we'll see. It almost seems like, in the Book of Boba Fett, I feel like the flashbacks were, probably 4 too many. It's like, get on with the story. I don't want any more flashbacks. I hope they don't do this, because this is also only 8 episodes. And I hope they don't waste too much time about telling the story of the past to make it connect to whatever it is that they're trying to tell us in this series. But we'll see.
It just seems like they don't have to tell too much. The present day of the Jedi murders, and then you go back to the past, and now we're not seeing anything else after those Jedi murders for a while, and we really only see like maybe a day or two's worth of story,
Right. Yeah. And sometimes that method
until season 2.
Yeah. And I read that it's only a single season series. But what was I going to say?
Interesting.
It seems like they're going for like the not the trendy, they're trying to be clever with the flashbacks and stuff like that. I'd rather they just tell a linear story and have fans, kind of ooh and ah that way, instead of, because we're not seeing any context as far as what is going to happen or what has happened in the past. We're getting pieces of the puzzle just thrown at us with this first 3 episodes, and we're all guessing. And I think, I don't know if that's really what Lucasfilm wants us to do as fans, to kind of continue to talk about it and guess. But I think the discourse is pissing off a lot of fans more than having them discuss things. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I wish these stories would just release all at once, so we can kind of take a look at everything. within the context of that story, beginning to end, and then discuss it that
Right.
way. Because then there's no guessing game. There's no, people getting pissed off. There's no, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Justin, what are
Yeah,
you going to say?
I was gonna say, but that's the whole point by going week by week. It anticipates
Sure.
anticipation for the fans. But that's that second point you make about just releasing them all. Like, I'd be down for that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the Mandalorian Blu-ray release where we can just watch the whole story with no credits.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be good.
that's what I've heard. I mean, if
Is-
not, I'll just do it on
They
my
have,
computer.
do they have Mando 2.5?
Yeah, it's in there.
You mean Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, the last 3 episodes.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me that this is it's a new trend that Star Wars is doing. We're constantly going back and forth. And I feel like that's just something we're gonna have to get used to. Because even Ahsoka did it and Andor did it. And it just,
Does
I
that
don't
water down the ability to tell this story? Because by the time you're done
Kinda.
with it, you're like, wait a minute, what happened?
I
You know,
think
I-
it depends
like I
on.
said,
I think it depends on how it's utilized, Ro.
Yeah, absolutely. Execution is everything.
Yeah, and sometimes it's part of the problem, I guess, with the fact that we do this kind of recap thing every week instead of just looking at it as a whole, is that we're going to be prone to this kind of breakdown of like, well, did they, do enough breakdown of the narrative for this portion of it?
so
Did
Phil, you're
they,
saying that we're the problem.
I'm
Right.
saying that in general, the biggest problem with Star Wars is the fans, whether that's us or anybody else out there.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, no one
Nobody
loves
hates
and
Star Wars
hates
like
Star
Star Wars
Wars
fans.
like Star Wars fans. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, and it's out there. People really do hate this show, or they just want to just talk shit about it. Who knows?
Oh no, it's Star Wars is woke.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the newest, greatest thing. I love that.
Let's see. We're making a list here at the Scariff podcast. Things that are not in Star Wars. You got bricks, you got zippers, you got screws, and now lesbians. That's what the
But
people are
R2D2 was a
saying
lesbian the whole time, right?
the whole time. Yes,
I didn't even know R2D2 had a gender.
but you know what though? R2D2 can't. I
Non-binary.
mean, have you seen his thing that he sticks into other things? That's not.
That's what I'm saying. Non-binary.
It's
Oh,
an
it's hard.
attachment.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
He
you're not
does
gonna
like
hold him
attachment.
down.
He's
You're gonna put
modular. He can
R2D2 in
do-
a bubble.
R2 can do whatever R2 needs to do.
I think I've seen Chopper's port too. It's a little more impressive.
Oh,
I just
God.
imagine R2D2 coming in. I can be whatever you want me to be, baby.
R2 dildo too.
Oh,
Oh, anyway, let's move on
We
to the newest
digress.
planet. We keep getting new planets in Star Wars and new things like that. Don't get me wrong, I love Brendok. This is a really cool planet. Had a lot of really cool wildlife. The scenery was awesome. I love the two suns thing, two moons thing.
Yeah.
Very
whatever that
reminiscent
is.
of another couple twins that I know. But what do you guys think about introducing more new planets? I mean, obviously in Star Wars, there's going to be new planets, but to me, like, this kind of started for me, it started, I think, in Andor, where I was like, just go to a freaking planet that we know, that like we want to see. Like, we're always making up these new planets.
Why does
Are you
everyone
guys on
want
that
to go
same
back to
page,
Jakku?
or
Yeah, I'm pissed off
Listen.
that so far we're 3 episodes in and we haven't gone back to Tatooine.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like Corellia or Mon Calamar or Kashyyyk.
established
some more, like-
canonical worlds that we haven't
Yeah.
really seen in live
Or
action
heard
yet.
of.
No, I got
Yeah.
you. We
Bring
saw
on the
Corellia.
new stuff. Bring it
We saw
on.
Corellia in Solo.
And
I want to
okay,
learn
all
more
right.
about
But,
the outer
but you see what I'm
ring,
saying,
what's
right?
beyond.
Justin,
No,
what do you
I
think
would
about
I
that? Are
would
you
love
like
to see.
okay?
I'd love to see more of some of the established worlds, but at the same time, I love that they're just like branching out and showing us new parts of the galaxy, so that it's like it it, it lends more credence to the idea that there's more to this galaxy than just the Skywalker family.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
See, as long
That's
as
true.
they always connect it to
guess.
Coruscant, which they've been doing, I'm cool with that. I love new planets.
That does
Yeah.
not compute.
All right.
Coruscant is
so
the
I'm
stronghold. Everyone knows it.
all right. So I'm just the one that. All right, that's fine. That's fine. All you
Yes,
people on
you're the
TikTok
bitter
watching,
old
what do you
man.
think? Do you want to see more of the old planets, or like, would you rather them keep introducing these brand new planets with all sorts of new things? Let us know on the TikTok. Also, like and follow us if you would like. Speaking of Brendok and the like creatures and stuff, I know that we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Phil, do you think that was a force tree? Is that like a force tree that they're working around there, or what's up
No.
with that?
No, that is a very, very poisonous tree.
Oh, go
Yeah, no,
go on. What do you?
that's the Bunta. That's
I guess I'm not.
Eve?
It's
that's
spelled
the
different.
that's the same stuff that May used as the poison to kill Torben in the episode 2.
Oh
No, that's what when May comes to find Osha and Osha's sitting under the tree and May's like, but it's so dangerous. And Osha's like, only if you eat it.
Yeah, you can see like some like
Okay.
mushrooms or something coming out of the bark.
Yeah, I noticed that
Yeah.
going back and reviewing that scene. But yeah, no,
I
it
guess I
looks
didn't
like
put
a
those two things together.
dope looking willow, but it is poisonous as all hell.
You know,
Huh.
I
I guess I didn't put that together.
I almost had some. Well, it almost had to me some biblical references. You have the tree of life, Adam and
Oh
Eve.
yeah, the
The
tree of,
you
of
know
knowledge.
knowledge, wisdom. I'm starting to see, and obviously George Lucas used a little bit of that with Anakin's birth, no father, immaculate conception, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean, I like when they kind of play around with Force lore and this people are getting so bent out of shape. I feel that this is just like one interpretation of the Force, which I find interesting. There are other Force users or people that acknowledge the Force that might have a different take on it, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's fun to see a different
So-
take on things. That's not just like, oh hey, here's the Jedi, here's the Orthodox Jedi. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Well, it really makes sense. It's a
That-
galaxy. There's a lot of people. They're going to have some kind of representation for the Force in general. Force, thread, magic for the Night Sisters to be continued.
Mhm.
But it's a great to see a different side of the Force, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. The whole Night Sister thing, because I'm not quite sure if these are actually Night Sisters. Are you guys like? Is this the beginning of the Night Sisters, or is this just a completely different set of Force users? Phil, you look
I
like you
think
know.
I think it's one sect of
Yep.
the same order. I don't know. Maybe it was just because my immediate instinct when I saw Mother, not Anasea, but the other one, Mother Coril. I was just like, oh, Zabrak. Just
Another one. That's 2 Zabraks now in
yeah.
the show.
There,
That's pretty cool.
there's a
But
tweet
Justin, what do you
that
think about the?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
go
totally
ahead.
cut you off.
Go ahead.
No, I was just asking, like, are you? Is that kind of where you're at? Like, you think it's just a different sect, or is this maybe the beginning of like the Night
Oh,
Sisters as a whole? Or
Oh, I'm sort of on board with Phil. I was thinking it's a different sect. You know how there's Christianity and there's Catholicism. And they both think Jesus is cool. Yeah, it's sort of like that.
Okay.
Or it could be something totally different. Like I believe Night Sisters called it magic, while these people are calling it the thread.
Mhm.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
either way, it's freaking awesome.
I mean, the Night Sisters specifically are just, the Zabrak on Dathomir. So
This is
True.
a diverse group.
yeah,
See, it's funny you bring up the whole Zabrak thing because that lady seemed like she didn't like the Jedi very much. Coral.
yeah,
Yeah.
another Coral.
You got to keep an eye on her.
Well,
sure.
Yeah.
I read that as they have been facing basically religious persecution for however long. They've fled to what is supposed to be an abandoned-ish planet to just be left alone and do their thing. And then, space cops show up and like, hey, we're going to take your kids.
Yeah, and it kind of makes them seem like they're bad guys to me. This show is really demonizing the Jedi. And like I'm on the side of the witches by the end of this episode where I'm like, oh, screw you guys. You came in and basically just stole my kids. And like, are you guys on that same train? Are you looking at them in a different light now?
As I recall, whatever her name is said you were going to be on the fence posts about which side you're going to go to.
Oh,
But I'm all
you're
about the
talking
witches.
creator.
I think, yeah, I'm all about the witches. The Jedi really seem like assholes.
They
Yeah,
they're
what about you? Are you
definitely-
on the
From this perspective, yes, the Jedi are a little suspect, but again, I always go back to what are we watching, how are we watching it, and how it relates to the rest of the story, which we don't know. So, at the beginning, when Torben takes the poison and basically offs himself, I mean, that was pretty gutsy because we've never seen a Jedi commit suicide. We've never had the concept of suicide in Star Wars. So
it's debatable that Qui-Gon did kind of a self-sacrificing thing, as did Obi-Wan Kenobi.
well,
when fighting Vader.
self-sacrifice is different than
but that's-
suicide.
Yes. I was working on lining up a suicide by Maul top thing there for Qui-Gon though, and it just fell flatter than Obi-Wan's robes.
on that before we get too much too far ahead, I want to make sure that we talk about this. On Torben, do you guys know what the bearish vow is?
Yes, I do.
So for those that don't, I found it. Individuals who take the bearish vow remain Jedi, but voluntarily choose to temporarily stop taking action on behalf of the Order. Author Charles Sewell, who created the bearish vow, described Jedi who take it as those who feel they have done something deeply wrong, particularly a misinterpretation of what they believe the Force wanted them to do. And while they don't leave the Order, they decide to sit and listen to the Force until they better understand themselves and what it's saying. So when he comes to in the last episode, when Torben comes out of his meditation, he says, I thought we were doing the right thing. To me, that seems like this is going to be the part where they really mess up. And I feel like the Jedi are going to be outed to be the ones who destroyed this whole temple. Because, and spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen the episode, go watch the episode, please. But the temple is basically destroyed by the end of it, and nobody really knows how. The only thing we see is May dropping some fire that then engulfs the whole place. So it was very suspect to me that she could have started that fire, and she could have done all of that.
No,
I mean,
Billy Joel started the fire.
No,
fair.
he did.
It's always burning.
The world's been turning.
So we can get to it when we get to it. But my interpretation of that was that it was May just being like, "Hey, if I can't have my twin, no one can."
Yeah, I can see that.
That seems so
Yeah.
extreme, though.
Yes.
You know what though? But
Yes.
she said to her sister, "I'll kill you." I mean, if that's not
Yeah.
extreme, like what is? I mean, she's a little brat.
And like, what the
It's
hell's wrong with
0
you?
to 10 like in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've known some crazy ladies
She
in my day,
has
but
some.
damn.
She definitely has some things that need to get sorted out. I mean, her when we see her and Osha each kind of taking turns catching the little flying creature underneath the bunta tree.
Mm.
You know, Osha catches it just for a little and then lets it go, but then she gets mad at May for doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's got
Because
some.
I don't know.
Some
you
Does
repressed
she
tell-
have, does she know that May will, hurt this thing? Does she know that,
You can kind of tell. I mean, even from her stance, it was very aggressive.
Yes,
You
it
know?
was way more. Osha was just kind of a
Yeah.
curious, and May's was much more like,
Yeah.
I want to control.
yeah.
I do have a.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Sorry, man.
I do have a feeling that Mother Corell, like you said, is not happy with the Jedi, but I think she saw the situation that happened at the temple and then just took advantage of it. I think she is kind of behind a lot of the stuff that we're going
Ooh.
to see.
Mother Coral?
Ooh. Interesting.
Yes.
Or Corel?
That's an
Sorry.
interesting
Coral.
Coral, Corell, Karen.
I just like saying Coral.
Mama K.
That's an interesting
Um,
way to view it. I
Yeah,
did not think she would have a bigger play into literally further than the backstory.
That would be Ro. I will give you major props if it turns out that she that Mother Coral is actually behind the
Sith mask.
like fake, like say she fakes her own death.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
And kills
To make the Jedi look bad.
Mhm.
Dark
Yeah.
Tenebrous.
What if none of them are actually dead? And that the whole bit with May and Osha was just shitty timing on their behalf, and that they'd faked their deaths. I can't imagine them leaving
no.
Osha like that unless they were trying to make unless it was
like the Branch
Anastasia.
Davidians.
Yeah. No, I was thinking more like if Mother Anastasia was like, hey, what if we want to make it so that she feels like she has nothing else to stay here for, so that she feels okay with going off to be with the Jedi?
But here's the thing, though. She was okay with just going off to the Jedi. She didn't need convincing.
No. But
And they were pretty much going to let her do it. It seemed like.
Sure, yeah.
before
It's
all
Coral.
of it.
It's Coral that didn't want that to happen.
yeah.
Right.
So then, does she kill everybody or fake her own death? I mean, there's layers.
We didn't see her. Yeah, we didn't see her in the pile of bodies.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to
Think
see
about
how
looking
her
for
story
her.
develops. And I know that we're going to see different flashbacks from different
point
sides
of views.
people.
Mhm. Well, again,
but let's
playing
talk
up
about the
that playing
twins.
up that Rashomon influence.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, let's talk about the twins and how they are twins and how they came to be, because it seems very
Yeah.
interesting to me.
There's two
that-
of them.
They're
They're twins.
but they had no father. It was and it was
Yeah.
another Anakin situation,
Mhm.
but in a different kind of way, because it seems like
How so?
Mother Anastasia said that she created the children, which means she would have used dark force magic
Right.
to create these children.
She used the
Uh,
thread.
the thread,
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
and created them. So is that supposed to be in reference to Anakin, or is that supposed to be something that we're led to believe happened with Anakin? I have a totally different theory. But Ro, what are your thoughts on the conception of the twins and how it's very relatable to Anakin?
It's very relatable, and I know people are saying this makes Anakin's birth or creation not special, and that's farther from the truth. What I think is, you know how Anakin was created by the Force as the chosen one, and he was going to bring balance to the Force. Well, everybody's like, well, what the hell is balance? What does that mean? How can you bring balance to the Force? I have a feeling that they are retroactively making this story as the answer to the creation of Anakin. These guys did it first with dark magic, dark thread, dark power, whatever, and they created this set of twins. The twins, obviously, they're just children. They don't know that they are dark side, but they happen, I think, because of other influences. Their destiny has been written, and they will become, if left unchecked, they will become, dark side. They will become the dark dyad. And the birth of Anakin is actually the answer to that. It is a response to creating life from darkness. Anakin was created through the Force, and that is why he is. That's why he exists, to bring balance to that that imbalance, that creation of life through darkness, and his existence is still special. And the funny thing is, one of the other things, real fast, is, if we're talking about dyads, I mean, obviously you've got, the sequels talk about Rey and Kylo being a dyad, and then these two are Dark Force dyads. Where is Anakin's twin or sibling? And the weird thing is that if you do the math, and I've seen other people say this, Anakin and Grogu were born on the same year. So do we think that Anakin and Grogu
blew my mind.
were a dyad? Who knows?
Interesting. That was my big thing. Is I think they're dyads more than they're anything. I think that they're explaining more about that, because even in episode 9, Emperor Palpatine says the dyad hasn't been seen in generations, and generations would basically be exactly where we're at right now.
Sure.
And so is this kind of proving that Anakin was the chosen one? I mean, I like the Grogu Anakin dyad thing, but I like it more that that's what makes his birth special, and what makes him the chosen one that actually brought the balance was because he was conceived by just the Force and not by some like dark Force magic that someone else used.
Or he is a self-contained dyad, where he is
the yin and the yang,
and dark. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That could be because he did start light, went to dark, came back gray, whatever.
I'm gonna throw out the Harry Potter reference now. Here, all right. So these events going on in the Acolyte, of how they're explaining the Force birth and the dyads, that's eventually just going to be leading to whoever's in the background in charge, aka Plagueis, planting this prophecy, prophecy that's fake, and eventually just letting it roll, and then tying it into like not having a dyad and having the single Anakin, aka the father, being the center point of everything.
Ooh.
Boom. And it's simple enough to follow.
Okay, not bad.
All-Star work content.
But here's the thing. All of this whole like fake prophecy, like planting prophecy so that other stuff can come through. What do you think this is, dude?
Harry Potter.
I mean, this could be where the prophecy originates, maybe. I just, for some reason, I feel like the Acolyte is gonna explain some origins of some stuff, whether it's the dyads, whether it's the chosen one, whether it's Plagueis and Palpatine. Like, this can't just be a standalone show, right?
It could be.
Or is it just
I'd be
seriously
fine
going to
with it
be like
being.
some? I mean, yeah, but there's got to be something.
Yeah, it's
Right.
too grand just to stand on
Maybe
its
not.
own. I mean, it's got to be connected to.
Oh yeah, no, and
I
it's
mean-
gonna be. I would love at some point to get something in the Star Wars universe that has nothing overall plot wise to do with anything else that we've ever seen in Star Wars before.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But that's just
But-
me and writing perspective.
Yeah, I get it. So let's talk about the ceremony and the test because these were some really
The
interesting
tattooing.
parts of this show.
A
yeah,
phenomenal
we got to see where-
parallels.
Reach up for the thread.
Phenomenal parallels between the Jedi testing and the witch's ascension. That's just I
Go
love
on. I don't.
I liked getting to see them both and just comparing the two. Just like, hey, here is something that is this whole group participating. It is this grand ceremony. It is, it is based on us being open and honest with each other. But it's being held in the middle of the night underneath the moons. Whereas the Jedi testing, it's in the ship, it's brightly lit, but it seems more secretive. It seems more
Like they're interrogating somebody.
it's more of an interrogation. And then of course my brain is also doing the whole psychic test bit from Ghostbusters. It's just
Right. I liked the Jedi tests, how they were the exact same tests that they used in episode 1.
Yeah, could they?
Like,
Yes.
really-
Yeah, no, like the same
never
like,
changed.
top and everything, just a speeder,
Starship.
cop.
a ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Justin, what
mother-
are your thoughts on them basically figuring out that she lied and then calling her out on it?
Oh,
That
with
OSHA lied
Soul?
in the test. Jedi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Soul was genius about that. I mean, it was probably really transparent with May, but they knew they had like a thread, to pull at OSHA, and he just called her bluff, and she's like, "No, I want to correct him." Oh, gotcha. I thought that was an interesting way to actually view it.
I thought again, it just kind of showed how brilliant Soul is to me.
Yeah.
Because he instantly knew. And maybe that's because May gave it away in the first test. But yeah, the second she said mountain, and he was like, correct. She goes, "Nuh-uh."
Yeah. That's not a. Oh,
Yeah. It was pretty brilliant. And I do like Soul. I still think the Jedi are supposed to be the bad guys here, but I
They are
think Soul
arrogant,
probably
and
might.
they have their flaws.
Yeah.
Very obvious flaws too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then with like the ceremony, I feel like, it was very reminiscent of something that the Night Sisters would do in the future, some sort of ceremony they would do to raise the dead or whatever it is. And yeah, I'm just stuck on these witches being the beginnings of the Night Sisters. I really am. Like, I don't think the Night Sisters exist until now. Until after
they end up
this,
some of them end up moving to like Dathomir after this kind of situation.
right?
They've
Or I
been
mean,
there forever.
Mother
The-
Anastasia, the translation for her in Greek is resurrection.
oh,
And so
I like that.
it's very interesting to me that
Okay.
they're all dead now, because is someone going to use some dark magic to maybe raise them from the dead, and now they become the Night Sisters?
Good. That's a good catch.
I think the
Uh,
Night Sisters have been the Night Sisters for a long, long time, man.
this would be a long time though, right?
Who?
I do
Anastasia?
feel, yeah, I do feel like the Night Sisters have been a thing for a long time, even before this.
Okay. So maybe
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
them
there's
turning
a connection
to
to the other galaxy, far
Mhm.
away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. As we see in Ahsoka. Josh, side note, it's hilarious to me when I'm on other people's shows and I take a look at their backgrounds and things like that. It's like nerds, no matter how far we are. I mean, I'm like looking at your little dude
Oh, yeah.
behind you, and I'm like,
yeah.
it's like
I
I'm like, hey, I got that. Hey, I got that one too.
have that one. I know that guy. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot.
if you go digging, the Night Sisters on Dathomir have been there for at least
Millennia.
Generations?
100 years before the Acolyte is set. But
Okay. So
uh,
I mean,
but
it could be
there
completely
certainly
wrong
could
then.
be a connection. You know,
Right.
they certainly could be connected again if Mother Coral is of Dathomiri descent by virtue of being Zabrak. It's possible.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, this is probably just me hoping and wishing that it's connected to the future movies and shows somehow, that this will connect us to Ahsoka and the father and the brother and the but like it could really and truly just be its own thing.
And the
That
Bendu. Don't forget the
yeah,
Bendu.
and the
The
Bendu.
Bendu.
Yeah, give us the Bendu. Give us connect something. But at the same time, I am very happy just to have new Star Wars content. Whether or not it's connected or whether or not it explains anything away for any plot points or anything, it's still new Star Wars and it's still a fun time and it's still fun to discuss these things with you guys and do
Hey,
this whole
Josh,
podcast thing. So
I'm just gonna tell you that everything is connected. It's called the
Hmm.
Force.
jeez, oh my god, you know what I mean.
And now the
It,
I
thread.
do
it
I do
binds
really
us.
I did really like the the great diversity among the coven,
Which is
though.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
They're
Mm,
very clearly members of lots of different species being represented in their group.
And I do feel
Yeah.
like this is just a sect of a group of a subsect of another group that just
witches,
happens
and it's
to yeah, it's and have you guys heard of Path of the Open Hand?
No.
That's another group that acknowledges the Force, but thinks that people that use the Force shouldn't be using the Force because it exists independently from ourselves,
okay.
and that if you use the Force for good, then somewhere in the galaxy somebody is using the Force for evil, and then that's why they don't want to mess with it.
It's
Right.
balance, but it's
Mm.
better to
quoted
leave it
that.
alone. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
That makes a lot of sense. And it honestly, like I said, it probably is just another set of force users. Because
mhm.
even in this show, Anastasia said, we were banished from the galaxy or whatever. They don't want us using our powers. And it seems like it's a battle of who can use the force.
Mhm.
Is it okay for people that aren't Jedi to use the force? It kind of seems like no right now. And these guys are just kind of refugees from, getting exiled.
It really seems that they're the ones trying to constrain the Force. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
Regulate.
trying to keep it all for themselves. Those greedy.
I wouldn't say
Jedi.
greedy, but they probably feel like
Greedo.
our way is the only way because it's the best way and the good way.
Sure.
Brotherhood of Steel kind of stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I think that's we can cover pretty much everything else that I have in our segments. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to mention or bring up before we moved on to segments? Let's start with Justin.
I I thought of this when we were talking about Torben taking the poison. Like, all right, this guy's been meditating or pretty much meditating for 10 years straight, right? He has a force bubble around him. His hair's receded like past the point of a six head. And he wakes up, talks to her, and he gives a very shallow answer. We tried our best. Really? After 10 years? That's like,
16.
I get it. All right, 16. Apologies. But like, that seems so like half-assed. That's all.
Well, I mean, he just came out of a 10-year meditation. You know, if someone sitting there asking me a bunch of questions after sleeping for 10 years, I'd probably be like, you know what, dude, I tried my best.
He wasn't sleeping. He's contemplating, man. He's in the moment. He's in the present. He's mindful.
I still think there's more to whatever they did while they were there, because
It's bad.
what
bad.
I saw, what I saw the Jedi definitively do in this episode was not worthy of like yeah, it was bad, but it wasn't worthy of saying, hey, I'm gonna go hide away for the next 15 years and then kill myself next time I see you.
Right. Yeah.
That
there's
especially
another shoe's going to drop.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
to, especially
Yeah.
because Torben was just the Padawan at the time.
To have a Jedi even
To have that level of guilt, either they had to be convinced that they did something more, or they actually did something way worse.
You know, there's a shot in one of the promos of Kelnaka jumping up, igniting his lightsaber, and attacking Torben. So I'm wondering if the witches somehow, manipulate themselves or manipulate the Jedi. Maybe
go black eye.
Yeah, in this other episode that we're going to get the other point of view, or however they're going to tell the story, that we find out that there's some shenanigans are happening there, that
Justin finally found it down.
the witches finally, the witches were able to manipulate the Jedi into fighting themselves, and shit happens, and something bad happens, but it's all because of the witch's powers. Because if you remember, I think the Mother Anastasia dropped the Padawan without even flinching.
Yeah.
So that tells you how powerful they are. If they really wanted to, like Coral said, let's just get rid of these Jedi. Nobody's going to miss them. Yeah. But the other ones are like, well, if we get rid of them, more will come. But they're not completely powerless. They're not completely helpless either, if you know what I mean. So something happens, we'll see what happens. It's kind of exciting.
We'll find out.
Yeah, there's got to be
days, but
it's gonna be a big twist, I think, that makes the Jedi out to be a little bit worse than they are. But excellent. I think what
I was gonna say, another thing that stood out to me in this episode was how big the reactor was, and then why they concentrated so much on different cutscenes.
What reactor?
Sabotage.
In the temple. I got you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, there was definitely some questioning about what was going on.
Maybe foreshadowing.
And what are they powering?
I mean, they've got a fairly large complex that they're running there.
They're doing force babiys.
Yeah.
Clones. It's all the clones again.
That's funny.
It's Snoke.
Let's get into segments.
100 years.
Yeah, let's get into segments. But before we get into segments, I am gonna actually let TikTok know that we're gonna head on out, because we can only do an hour with you guys. So we're right there. If you want to watch the segments, all of you guys can head on over to youtube.com/twistmyarmcast, and you can see the segments. For everyone else that's watching, let's move on. That's right. It's the Starlight Killer scene where we talk about our favorite still shot of each episode. We are going to start first with Ro. Did you have? You didn't actually send me one. So, did you have a still shot that I can maybe go bring up really quick? Think about it. Let's go to Justin.
Yeah.
Justin's shot here was at the 35 minute and 25 second mark. It is this guy.
I
To
don't
see,
I don't see Coral.
you're right. To see something like this in my paramedic mind, I think something is very fishy. And then I start looking for possible culprits, and then there's no saber marks, and it's literally all the witches in a congregated area that have seemingly fallen on it without distress. Maybe it was they possibly drank the Kool-Aid. I don't know.
I was just
But
going to
it
say
just
about
seems
Kool-Aid.
too fishy to me. It's not like it's smoke inhalation and there's people trying to run away like they were trying to play it as, and there's no burns. Like it's way too weird for me. And that being
that-
said, I'm sure
that kinda
that's
looks-
going to be
Like a lightsaber
filled in on
puncture.
a different episode from a different point of view.
Yeah. But yeah, this right here
A
kind of looks like a
certain point of
lightsaber
view.
puncture.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like from Maze. This one was from OSHA.
Mhm.
May doesn't have a lightsaber. What are you talking about?
No, the next
does she?
flashback will be from May's point of view.
I see. I see.
Right.
I got you.
Are they
Never
wearing
saw what May
what?
did.
They're not wearing white sneakers, are they?
I don't see any saber marks. They're like in previous Star Wars content, they're always been distinct and the outsides have been singed. They're
I think those are just
obviously
hey dudes
black.
right there.
Those are black Reeboks.
This is a very depressing still shot though. Like it looks like Justin was saying, it looks like the
War
Kool-Aid
crime.
when they all drank the Kool-Aid and they just all died. And then you have, up at the top with OSHA and Soul running. Like how traumatic would that be to see
Like,
your
You don't even
entire
get
family.
the chance to say goodbye
Right.
to
Yeah.
like the corpse of your mother.
or even to like see if anyone's alive. Like they didn't even get that chance. They just
Right.
bloop, let's go. Which also kind of is very suspicious. Like
Fishy,
you're
fishy.
really trying to get the hell out of there as quickly as possible without OSHA knowing something. That's weird to me. But
Which, entertainingly enough,
what?
oh, nothing. Never mind. We'll get there.
Oh,
Don't worry.
Segue.
about it.
He was
Don't
trying to
worry.
segue.
Excellent pick, Justin. I do really like
Thank
that
you.
shot, and I like
It's dark, but
well,
I
it is
gotta
dark, yeah.
show the true me.
A little darker than normal, but
No, I
Come on.
like that you, Justin. I like that you specifically tie your paramedic experience into seeing that shot, though, because that's a perspective that none of the rest of us have. So
he's like, the last Kool-Aid massacre I walked in, it really looked a lot like this. It's just a lot of people laying
Does
around.
look like a massacre, if you ask me.
Well, let's move on to Phil's pick here, which comes in at the 29 minute and 20 second mark. Oh my god.
don't hurt yourself there, Josh. So this shot is the Witch's Temple on Brendok, and like I was saying last week, I absolutely love Star Wars establishing shots.
Yeah.
Because this is something that would have been the job of a matte painter to do back during the era of like the original trilogy. Just like, hey, here's this gorgeous background, we're gonna pan across it. And I picked this version of it specifically because you can see the little like V structure there in the top of the mountain and that little like partially connected bit there. And I was like, that's a super cool design.
Yeah.
And the combination of that, the night-ish shot, and the moons in the background, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Agree.
And speaking of Tim in the chat was mentioning that Star Wars is like poetry. It rhymes with what has come and what will. got the twin moons, and we have the twin suns on Tatooine. We have the Skywalker twins. We have Osha and May. There's echoes.
That's kind of what I was going to bring up, was that this is very, very reminiscent of the Tatooine.
It's the
suns.
binary sunset.
Yeah.
But
it's moons instead of
Yeah.
suns.
Moonrise.
So it's the dark part of that side. So, and that's another one of those things where it's like, are they trying to reference that these guys are connected to the chosen ones somehow? I feel like they're just trolling us at this point.
They could be.
The creator of this show is like, you know what? Star Wars fans are the worst trolls in the world. Let's just troll them for a little
Those
bit.
trolls. Roll them back.
we're gonna have to start calling it a Star Wars trology.
A trology. I love that.
Nice.
She is shaking it up.
Yeah,
that's for
there you
sure.
go. Ro, sorry, did you have a shot that you wanted to talk
No,
about?
not really. I mean, I'm again. You guys mentioned it. I love establishing shots. I think when Kenobi came out, I felt like there wasn't enough, and then Andor came out, and I'm like, oh my god, this is great.
There's almost too many.
Yeah, I really enjoy the establishing shots for with Star Wars. They help to give you a little breather too. They help to temper some of the action, especially in between scenes. So I really enjoy that. One thing that I did notice too, a lot of people are shit posting that Leslie Headland is not a Star Wars fan and blah 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 blibbity blah. There's a lot of wipes in this show, and I feel that that is not by accident, obviously, but Star Wars needs wipes, and she's
I have to say,
quite a few.
I have to say, my brain just goes, nice dissolve in John Candy's voice every goddamn time.
Yeah,
that's so good. Yeah, I'd agree. Most of the establishing shot that was my first pick. Phil, was your twin moon shot, but I knew that someone else was going to pick it, so I was like, well, I'll just save it for whoever takes it. And I decided to take the 29-minute and 10-second mark of Kalnaka hanging out next to his sweet speeder. I want this toy set. Come on now.
I'm so glad it's not shiny.
Yes, thank you. Used future look. Is it bad that I immediately thought of the description of the swoops? The swoop style speeders from the old EU.
Oh yeah.
That were basically
and the ones in Solo.
Yeah. They're just being described as little more than an engine with a seat on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's why I like this. I just like this particular machine because it's an older version of something that I've always loved, which is the speeders from Return of the Jedi. Those are one of my favorite vehicles. I have one up there. I might have two hanging out. But seeing an older
that
version
explodes and throws Luke off of the seat, it's great.
Oh, I remember that. That one was awesome. It was like a crash dummy Star Wars toy. That's way cool.
So when I see this, I just think of Tim the Toolman Taylor and him just going, oh.
Yeah, there it is.
It looks like he's working on something with the power tool to me.
Doesn't it? He does kind of look a little like he just got caught. Like he's a dog that just got caught in the trash.
It's strange. Does he have a shaved head?
He does. He does. He has like kind of a
I was wondering.
No, he has a partially shaved head and then like the top knot going.
Dude, Wookiees got long ass freaking heads.
Yeah, this particular Wookiee does have a really long head too. Really big top knot at least.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It makes him look even taller, which is hilarious.
Yeah. But I do like Kalnaka, and I do like this this whole scene in general was really fun with Osha walking up to him and him kind of turning around going, hi.
Someone left a child here.
Yeah, there's someone's kid over here. Someone can get this thing, please. Yeah, I'm more and more excited to see Kalnaka in all of his glory as this show goes on, because it'll be really fun to watch a Wookiee kick some ass. Yep. Excellent picks, though, everyone. Thank you for participating in the Starlight Killer scene. We're going to move on to the next segment.
He's no good to me dead.
He will not be permanently damaged.
It's Boba's Bounty, where we talk about our favorite new thing that was added into Star Wars. It could be a ship, it could be a character, it could be a planet, it could be anything. So we will officially start with Ro this time, and his Boba's Bounty was none other than Coral.
Oh yeah. Something
Why'd you pick
about
Coral?
I just have a thing for this type of character. So just
I'm not gonna say it on live. I'm
Fill-
not gonna say
fill
it
in the
on live.
blanks.
I'm not
Fill
gonna
in the
say it on
blanks.
live.
Say it.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
obviously, I mean,
Continue,
I think her design is cool. I think her character is mysterious, intriguing. I've never seen the actress before. I had to kind of look her up, but I think she's gonna give us a run for our money.
I think so too. I think she's going to be quite the badass as time goes on here with this show. Yeah, excellent pick. Who wants to go next? Should we go with Justin? Justin's over there just laughing his ass off.
Saw what Phil wanted to say.
I know we're curious now.
Yeah, I missed the whole thing. I was checking some. I just I'm gonna have to.
You're good.
I'll figure this out in post, I guess, when I'm listening to it. Huh. All right. Well, let's go on to Justin's Boba's Bounty, which is Mother Anasea.
I think she is beautiful. She's mysterious at the same time, but they answered a lot of the questions with her background slowly. She's an immaculate she caused an immaculate conception for the twins, and then it started bringing up more questions of like how they are racially like the same as her, and yeah, I digress. But overall, like, she was the kind mother. Like, you could see the tension between her and Coral, and what kind of parent was what. And it sort of leads me to the question, like, how would you guys raise a Jedi kid?
Right.
I have no idea.
Well, hopefully
Do we know why
would
she did
know.
it? I mean, she didn't want to raise two Jedi kids, but she just wanted more Coven, right?
Yeah, I think the
Or
whole point
just,
was to
you know,
continue
a
the
mother.
species, as they say.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Justin makes a good point. It'd be really hard to
regardless of her
raise a Jedi kid.
motivations,
What, Phil?
regardless of her motivations, she did something that no one else had conceivably done before.
Sing.
So does that make her like all powerful? Because I feel like you have to be very, very powerful in the Force and or the Thread to make children.
I honestly kind of, the way that Coral talked about it, I kind of expected it to be kind of a joint effort thing, like taking application of both of their power together to successfully,
two as
like-
one thing.
yeah,
like Force scissoring. Wait, who said that?
Phil, you shouldn't have said that.
Scissor me, Xerxes.
Oh,
Jeez.
there you go.
Oh, and he's got scissors over there. That's amazing. I cannot wait to make a clip out of that.
please don't. No, we're gonna cut this part out.
Should we move on from this area and go on to Phil's Boba's Bounty?
Quick thing.
Or did you want to make another point about horny women and scissoring?
Neither. Point about Mother Coral, and how we haven't seen the actress in a whole lot of other things. She is gonna be showing up on Disney Plus again soon, with the Daredevil Born Again
Oh, nice.
series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
she will
agree
be.
with you, Phil. She's easy on the eyes.
Yeah, no, she'll be playing Heather Glenn, who is a love interest of Matt Murdock in Born Again. So that'll be fun.
I don't want to go too far into that, but I'm sure that character is somewhere in the comics. I would assume. Yeah. Look that up now. Thanks for that. Phil, let's move on to your Boba's bounty, which is the tree.
The tree.
The tree of life.
The tree. Not life, that's for sure. Okay, so I mean, it's the Bunta tree. We've seen the poison from it already, utilized in the second episode with Torben. We have potential application of it in use in this episode too, because we have May and Osha describing how dangerous it is, and how poisonous it is. Now the question becomes, my immediate thought when I saw the coven collapsed on the floor was, oh shit, somebody gave them Bunta.
Oh,
that was my immediate first thought.
Until you see that lightsaber,
someone gave them Bunta.
It burnt the Bunta and they and died.
Shouldn't have put that in my grinder. But now the question is, if they did all in fact die from an application of Bunta, who done it? Now we have another layer to the mystery. We have May obviously surviving and knowing the uses of Bunta, but just given the way that Torben looked at that and said, oh, this is what this is. Oh, this is me. Bye. I'm out. Leads me to believe that at least that the Jedi were the ones responsible for the poisoning of the whole coven.
So you're saying it's the Bunta in the reactor room
with
an unknown person combined with
it was
the
May
fire.
in the reactor room with the Bunta.
It's a game of Clue.
Let me go check the envelope and see what cards are in there. God damn.
You're out. You're out. You lost.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. There's so many different possibilities of how the coven got wiped out. And it's just like we've been discussing this whole episode. It's going to be explained in another flashback at some point where we're going to get a different point of view of somebody else. So
yep. And again,
I'm excited to see that.
And again, we have that coming back to the Kurosawa influence. If we start getting the different points of view on how this crime took place, that's literally just Rashomon.
For sure.
So here for it.
Well, excellent pick. I'm going to go on to mine, and then we'll get on the ratings, and we'll get the hell on out of here. So my pick for the Boba's Bounty this week was Elder Jalen. She kind of surprised me when she showed up all wisdomy and stuff.
Haggard.
Do we know what race she is? Is she she a 9 numb?
No, she's not Celestin.
No,
she's not Celestin.
Yeah,
I feel like she oh my god, what was that lady's name in episode 7? The one that had Luke's lightsaber, Maz Kanata.
Maz.
I feel like
I can see that too.
She kind of looks like
beady
that,
little
like that kind of race, but no glasses, right? Because Maz Kanata had those giant glasses that she would wear, where I feel like this lady does not, and that's kind of why I picked this, because she looks strikingly similar to the race that Maz was, and I like
the
seeing
Takadana.
Yeah, and I really like seeing not only different, Force users, but then different races within those Force users. So it's not all just, it's not just all Zabraks, or it's not all just white males that are, with lightsabers. You know what I mean? Like it's very diverse, and I'm here for it. I would like to know what kind of power she has, honestly, because she looks like she's probably a badass.
She looks like someone
Yeah.
who's a shaman and can foresee the future.
Yeah, her outfit reminds me very much of the costuming of the Bene Gesserit.
Oh, you're
at
right.
Dune.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
The lead drow.
Yeah.
She just needs a veil.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
She's
But
cool.
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, she was just a very interesting character to me because she had all the wisdom and all the knowledge and kind of knew, and I had an idea of what to do, and knew
Yeah.
like how that they could kind of deceive the Jedi. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just fun to see these different characters popping up all over the place. Thank you guys for your picks and our Boba's Bounty. We're going to move on to the third and final segment. Third and final segment. That's what I meant to say. It is the Tusken Raider, where we rate each episode out of 10 witches.
Fire.
Yeah. 10 bunta trees, 10 bunta
Bunta
leaves.
trees,
So
yeah.
let's start with Ro. What's your rating of this episode out of 10 bunta leaves?
I give it a 7. 7 buntas out of 10. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I really like when we start getting a little play in the Force lore department. So I found this sect of witches intriguing and fascinating. Can't wait to see more. So yeah, 7. It's higher than my rating for the first 2 episodes. For me, the first 2 episodes were pretty mild. Nothing for me, nothing spectacular. But getting into this story, it really held my attention. I'm glad it was a little longer, but it was intriguing nonetheless. So yeah, 7 out of 10.
All right. Phil, what are you rating this one?
It was a solid flashback. I do like that it was just a full episode flashback and not trying to frame a flashback inside the greater narrative within the same episode. I like that just gave us a little more time to spend with young Osha and May. I think it was good to get to. We knew we'd get to see more of Carrie Ann Moss first off, so that was nice. But then it builds a lot by giving us a lot of answers, but being that whole Rashomon structure, we don't know how definitive some of those answers are. I thought it was a very solid episode in that respect. I'm going to give it an 8.
All right. Justin, what about you?
Pretty much, I have aspects of agreeing with Ro and Phil. Like, the most enjoyable thing about this flashback episode, just what Phil said, it was a whole episode. It just dedicated itself to that, because when it goes back and forth, I get confused a little bit as an audience member. I liked how it answered a few questions we developed over the first 2 episodes, but then even opened more doors. I was less involved with this one, I guess I would say, with comparatively to the first 2. I would rate it a 6, but my wife actually likes this show, and she's never has liked any Star Wars content before, so that adds a 1.5. So 7.5.
God. All right.
Hey, that's an important consideration.
It really is. Make sure she knows.
When the family is enjoying Star Wars together,
Mm-hmm.
that is when
Happy
Star
Star
Wars
Wars
is at its
family.
best.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I originally had this rated at a 6, but as per usual, when we start talking about things, I start to like it a little bit more. So I'm raising it up to a 7 this week, which is pretty much going to average this episode out at a 7.5 for us, which is not bad. It seems about the average. Last week, I believe it was a 7.5 as well. So it's no bad batch, which is great. We're still enjoying it. So that's all that matters, I feel like. But yeah, I think that's going to be about it for this week's episode. Like I said, it'd be a little shorter. Last week we had 2 episodes to cover, so it definitely took a little bit more time. But Ro, I want to thank you again for coming and hanging out with us and talking some Star Wars as always.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you on again.
Yeah,
absolutely, my pleasure.
Give the listeners some plugs out there for where they
third or fourth time Ro's been here.
Third, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Excellent.
Something
excellent. 2 more times, and then I get the jacket, right?
Ooh, I'm out of those jackets.
That's a 10 punch card.
I think that's 5 consecutive appearances.
Oh, gotcha. Technicality. You got me on a technicality.
I know.
But obviously, you can give me a follow on the Twitters. Brad and I run the Scariff Scuttlebutt account, as you see on the screen there, Scariff Podcast. And, I always take an opportunity to push the rest of the friends and members of the Red 5 Network. So if you like geeky stuff, discussing, watching, listening, interacting, discussing, then head on over to bio.link/red5.
And as always, those links are in the show notes, so you don't have to go type anything out. You can just go down and click on those links. Justin and Phil, thank you so much again for hanging out. And again, their links are in the show notes if you would like to go give them a follow. As for us, you can search for the Twist My Arm podcast anywhere on any social media. Just search Twist My Arm Cast. I just recently found out that on TikTok, if you just type in Twist, I am the first one to pop up. So that's pretty cool. Make sure to give us a follow and a like on all those places. We do appreciate it. We're going to try this sign-off thing again. Last week was real good.
Can we do arrows?
So, you should go listen to it. It was really good. It was probably the best sign-off we've ever had.
It was painful, Ro. It was painful.
So we'll go around the circle. We'll start with Phil, go to Ro, go to Justin, come back to me. We're going to end it. So for Quest Me, I have been your host.
I'm Philip K, a.k.a. Flip Rider.
I am Ro from the Scariff Scuttlebutt podcast.
And I'm Justin, J1742.
And of course, my name is Josh. May the force be with you. We will talk at you next week.